Okay. All right. Good evening. Moharan, Tarela Medalad, Betzel Medrash, Hashem, Pasha Shmois, Rabbi Aaron's wife. Everything good is happening. You want tea? Okay. So we mentioned that after the intro, the basic union, that the problem is that corrupted, coarsened loves create shame, which breaks the heart, and makes it impossible for a person to actually be connect with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. It makes it impossible for a person to connect with the light of his own neshama. Meaning, you understand and you know, you may understand, you may know things on a principle level. Hebrew it's called begadol. You understand in principle, but it's not a live thing for. It's not a live thing for you. It's you talk the talk, but you don't walk the walk. It's very common, when a person wants to make his way to this, and the heart is closed. It's like it's encrusted in stone. I don't know. It's like nothing touches it. You hear various. You should feel the tzar of your friend. You should, whatever it is that you need to do, but this is true for you in principle. But so you don't feel. So Rabbeinu says that in and on itself, let's just put things straight for a minute. In and on itself, it's not the be all and end all, that I should feel, that I should this, that I should that. The be all and end all is that by feeling it and internalizing the message, the light, the moichin, it actually awakens me to do what I need to do. And Achinam Vivadai, it says in Torah Base that the neshama needs to let the body know of all the sagas that it perceives all the time. So there'll be some kind of a reciprocal relationship between the body and the neshama. So it's not true to say that feeling and being receptive is just a one-way street, just to get you to do things. But that's the important thing. On a higher level, there is definitely a mila to that sensitivity, the sensitizing of the heart, to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to do what it is that I need to do, so that I will be able to be mechayim on the neshama when it needs it. When the body, it says it says when the body is kosher, it's clean, it's sensitized, it creates a symbiotic relationship with the neshama The neshama, Rabbeinu says over there something very surprising. He says something the neshama has. It falls down from its madrega. I'm not actually sure to understand what that means, but the neshama gets down from its madrega, and by the body, by the enjoyment, the physical enjoyments of a clean, kosher body, the neshama can also raise back to its previous madrega. That's a very mysterious thing here. I don't really understand how this thing works, but the basic premise, the way that I understand it, is that originally we would say that you have a choice. Either enjoy the pleasures of Olam Hazeh, or get the pleasures of Olam Haba. It's either or. If you choose the pleasures of Olam Hazeh, okay. In other words, you took something very valuable and you cheapened it. And Olam Haba, then you come in empty-handed. But from that statement, that the neshama, when the body is the way it's supposed to be, when it's kosher, it's not a body that gets addicted to pleasures of this world. The pleasure of somebody on that madriga can actually help the neshama when the neshama is in need. The neshama is in a slump, for lack of a better word. Not that I understand exactly what the slump is, but it's something that there is such a situation, and so the neshama can come back to its smile, because when the body, the kosher body, enjoys the anah of Olam Hazeh, the neshama is reminded of the pleasures that shach to the neshama, which is Or Hashem, and it can come back up. It's very interesting, and as far as I'm concerned, because I don't know more than that, it is a rather opaque kind of situation. But the interesting nakuda here is that it tells you that the hanoas of Olam Hazeh is not just a stumbling block that stands on your way from it, from achieving Olam Haba. There is when a yid is kosher, when the body is kosher, whatever it is, there is in avodas Hashem, benefit in this worldly pleasure. One such instance that is easy to see is eating on Shabbos, right? Enjoying good food on Shabbos is Oinik Shabbos. In fact, that is the crux of the epitome of Oinik Shabbos. It's a food. Dafka the food. So here you take something which is very physical, and it's as spiritual as can be, right? So it's so we said, okay, but the idea is to crack, to remove the busha, to remove the shame that accompanies coarsened and cheapened heavenly loves, and just using them to have this worldly hana. So they said the way that it's done, the way that this is done, is by connecting to the three nekudas: the nekudas tzaddik, nekudas chaver, and nekudas atzma. Everybody's supposed to connect to the tzaddik. Friends should connect to one another. Every person should be speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which means the nekudas atzma. And we said that the expression of this connection between the tzaddik and Am Yisrael, between one friend to another, between a person to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is an action where the shefa, the bounty that comes from above, shines to the lower madrega, and with this removes and wipes off the busha, the cherpa, the humiliation. We call that action, it's called the Yosef or Shalit. Yosef is the ruler. The tzaddik, the nekuda of the tzaddik, whether it's the tzaddik himself, whether it's nekuda of the tzaddik in your friend, whether it's your own nekuda of the tzaddik, is mashpia to the pchinas lev, the pchinas heart. The tzaddik to Am Yisrael, one friend speaking to another, the mouth of one speaking to the heart of another, and the mouth of one person speaking to his own heart, speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The nekuda from where the shefa comes is the mouth, is the chokhmah, is the yud, and the place where it all flows down to is the bina, is the heart. So you have the chokhmah, it's a shpia to bina. Is pi yada b'chokhmah, my mouth will express wisdom, is the chokhmah. The hogus libi, and that which my heart, gets on is tvunos, is bina. Bina liba, the bina is the heart, said in a few places. So the tzaddik has an memshala to run things. His mission is to run things in order to awaken people to avodas Hashem. And the tzaddik has that nekuda, the klei shefa, which is the mouth, perfectly. We call it malufim, melopum, filled mouth. What? Yeah, the shefa coming from the tzaddik to the heart removes the cherpa from the heart. So the cherpa breaks the heart. But the cherpa breaks the heart. Basically, you can understand it in a muscle, like a person did something that he should not have done. Okay, that causes shame. Okay, that shame makes a person, it discourages the person and can bring him to despair. To despair. So you have cherpa, sheva libi, like, why bother? I ain't gonna make it anyhow. I tried many times, it didn't work. What can I do? This is cherpa sheva libi. The heart is broken. It causes a rift between a person and a HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But when you speak to the tzaddik, you get the message from the tzaddik that adrabah, from where you are, broken as you might be, in a low madrega as I might be, dafka from there, the Kodesh Baruch Hu raises the most. There's a mashal, Yisrael. When Yisrael, that was, the major priest of all the Avodah Zarahs in the world, he said, now I know that Hashem is greater, Mikol Elokim. So he says that was like the greatest elevation of the honor of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and made Matan Torah possible. So I'm not telling you that you didn't goof. I'm not telling myself that I didn't fail. It doesn't tell me that I didn't fail. It doesn't tell me that I didn't do anything wrong. No, I did. But he says, but he gives me a seichel, gives me a das, gives me a wisdom that makes me understand that I'm not a loser, that I'm not somebody that is hopeless. But adrabah, this is part of Avodas Hashem. In Torah Chavesim, it's Hashem. Next week, we're going to learn that this is, the Yerida is a Tzorech Aliyah. You have to go down before you go up. And the fact that you are down, the fact that I am down where I am, is because I have business there. I have unfinished business in those levels. Suddenly, what did I do? I connected my heart, to the wisdom. My friend told me that. I spoke with the Kodesh Baruch Hu that. And lo and behold, it doesn't make, it's not I didn't do whatever it is that I didn't, that I did that I didn't have to do, but suddenly it's not the end of the world. That's a pshat that it moves away the damage of the cherpa. Yes, I have to do tshuva, I have to do this, but it's not a lost case. This is how, when the chokhmah shines to the heart is clouded, is blocked by cherpa, by humiliation, by busha, that the busha in itself, you can yield desperation. That's it. You connect to the chokhmah, you find, no, it gives you life. It gives you shefa. In fakir, afterwards, when you come out of that quagmire that you were in, when you came out, you helped neshamas that fell there, that couldn't get out in any other way. You malu nitzitzes from there. B, when you have a friend afterwards that maybe, is in a similar situation, you can help him out, right? So you become the chokhmah, and he becomes the bina. He's the heart, you're the mouth. You give him the message. You say, I was the same position as you are now. But, if you just don't give up and you stay the course, as Rabbeinu says in Sefer Amidus, yesh inyan shenisapech hakol ha'toiva. There is an inyan. If everything flips over, it looks hopeless, and it becomes a fantastic chesed, a fantastic. Okay, so that explains the question that you have. How does the chokhmah, removes the damage of the cherpa? So explain to me what it is you didn't understand.
How does it happen? All of a sudden you have no shame. You just
No, it's not that you have no shame. It's not that you have no shame. We're talking about with there are different kinds of shame. There is what you call a toxic shame. A shame that drives you away from the Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's the shame of cherpa. Then there is a shame which is a busha de kedusha, leman tier Hashem al panechem. That's the busha. Okay, that's a busha de kedusha. That's a busha that enables you to surrender and to lower yourself so you can serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So shame, just like that, I'm embarrassed, doesn't mean it's good, doesn't mean that it's bad. Rabbi says in Teravav, Ika tshuva ishma bizyona yidavishtek, right? The main tshuva is to hear my humiliation and keep quiet. So feeling humiliated in and on itself, that is not the bad thing. The bad thing is that, and also Teravav. In Teravav, it also says, it's bizyona shfichas damim. It means that there is a reason to be embarrassed. There's a reason to be ashamed. It's not like that. It was funny. No, there is a reason to be ashamed. But the question is a toxic shame that drives me away from Kodesh Baruch Hu. What is the busha? It's a busha which Rabbeinu says in Torah Chavesim is that yereh boshet, bereshis is yereh boshet. That it's that kind of shame. That kind of it's something that comes out of yira. It's a productive busha. You can say productive cherpa. Cherpa is in itself a derogatory term. As the Shvatim say, he says we cannot give our sister to somebody that has an orla. Cherpa hilana. That's a cherpa. Cherpa means it's a cursing thing. Cheref ma'arachot elokim chayim. That's what Goliath did. Cherpa means that when busha becomes toxic. The das does not may not remove the embarrassment, but it turns it from a toxic shame and turns it into a productive shame. The one that wakes you up and like, yo, what's the deal with you? Until when am I going to keep on dancing and waltzing, thinking that I got eternity, to watch football games or whatever I do. You know what I'm saying? It's like this is what the chef of the tzaddik does. It turns it into a productive kind of pusha, essentially Yir Shemaim, not cherpa that stomps me into the ground and steps on my head. So we said that relationship, the tzaddik has memshala, that the chokhmah has memshala, that the wisdom that comes from your friend has memshala, that your own nekudas tzaddik has memshala to bring shefa. It's called malufim. Malufim is a valorization of where the vav, the letter vav, has a point in it. That is the vowel of malufim. It's called u, right? And Rabbeinu explains that this valorization is made out of an or and kli, a light in a vessel in a container, the mouth and the heart, the yud and the vav. And last week we mentioned that there are different kind of manifestations of that particular reality. And one of them is Aseret Dibros with the luchas, where Aseret Dibros is the yud, right? Because it's 10. The luchas, the width is 6 amas and the length is 6 amas. That's the vav, 6. Okay. Then with the Torah and the entire world is also another manifestation of yud and vav. Reishis Chochma, that's the Torah. The world is Vav, but the world was created in 6 days. Okay. Am Yisrael with the Tzaddik is a third manifestation of that principle. The Tzaddik of Chachme Eido, that this is the Chochma, and the Vav is us, that we support the Tzaddikim, we support the people all learning Torah, is Tamchil Raifa. Is the supporter of Avei Amudim. That's the Bina. And then we say by every single person by itself, there's this fourth manifestation of the same principle of the Yud and Vav, is every Jew by himself is a Yud and Vav. The Yud is the mouth, my own mouth. Fi Yedaber Chochmas, my mouth expresses wisdom. V'Hagus Li B'Tvinos. Hagus Living, this is that's the luchas, that's the vav. My heart is the vav. It says kashem al gerisecha v'kosem al luach lidecha. The heart is called a tablet. You engrave what we're trying to do in this world. We're trying to engrave upon our heart the wisdom, which is the same relationship of the Seres HaDibros and the luchas. And the heart of a person receives the shefa, the bounty, the plenty from the mouth of a person, which is chachma. Because when a person speaks to Kodesh Baruch Hu, between him and Hashem, he is mashpia, he bestows his eirus, so his own heart. You go to a Kodesh Baruch Hu and you talk to a Kodesh Baruch Hu, and you can come to Kodesh Baruch Hu totally broken, and you say, I don't want to say bad thing about myself, but it seems like I missed the bus. It's just like it ain't working. No, can't believe I'm doing the same thing, same old again, again, again. I spent all these years wasting my time away, whatever, blah, 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 whatever. And you speak to Kodesh Baruch Hu, and you stay with it. And the Kodesh Baruch Hu gives you words. He gives you words to your own mouth. And as you speak, suddenly you see things differently. And it can give you an amazing service. Wonderful, thank you. Story that I said many times, but I'll say it again because it's a very for me it was obviously a very inspiring and very the fulcrum of a lot of things for me in my life. So if you heard it again, if you feel like yawning, just cover your mouth. I kept it boring. Happened was that I lived in America at the time, and for a lot of different reasons, it was not an easy time. Not so much that on the outside it wasn't an easy time. I had harder times, but mentally was not an easy time for me. And I felt very bereft. I went, I had this cemetery, Jewish cemetery, not far from my house in Borough Park. And I remember going there, and I felt so broken, for lack of another word, that I actually came there. Now, Rabbeinu says that when a person says, a person whines and says, woe is me, all the time. Because the Baruch Hu says, you think that this is bad? I'll show you what bad really is. If a person goes around and says, life is wonderful, it's great, really it's great, because the Baruch Hu says to him, you think this is great? I'll show you what great really is. So I was under the impression that particular Indian is only between a person and people. You can tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you feel miserable. You don't blame HaKadosh, how can you do this to me? Whatever it is. But like a child coming to his father, you can say, I feel very bad. It's okay. I didn't know that. I thought you were going to say it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu also. So I went to make his business, and I said, to be totally honest with you, I really don't know what to say. I can't tell you, that I'm miserable, because you'll say, this is misery? I'll show you what misery really is. So I can't say anything. Besides the fact, you're right. You're always right. So, what do you want to say? A, you're right. B, I'll say that I'm miserable. You say, you don't know what bad really is. No. So I say, actually, I'm embarrassed to say, I'm not sure, with all due respect. If that's the case, you do what you want. I'm going home to sleep. What do you want to say? I don't know what to say. Can't say anything. No, no. I was like, I didn't mean chas v'chalila, as in the front or whatever it is, but it's like I felt like I'm in a dead end. I didn't know what to do. What I'm supposed to do. You know, damned if I do, damned if I don't. It's like a couple of days later, I sort of like it dawned on me. I calmed down. It doesn't take more than a couple of good things happening to you. 2 seconds, 2 seconds, then suddenly, it's a great day today. Anyhow, so I went to make this. It's the same, around the same area. And I said, okay, I got it. I understand now that it's not like you know what is good, and I know what is good, but you know better. That's not what it is. Not that you know better. It's you know and I don't know. I accept that. Fine. But I said, but one thing that I want to ask you, why does it have to be so difficult? That's the only thing I want to know. And suddenly I started laughing. And I laughed so loud that I thought that the dead in their graves will rise because it's so noisy. I laughed so loud. What? Yeah, be quiet. What happened was that my heart, I felt compelled to tell something to myself in my own heart. It's not like I heard the voice from the outside. Suddenly I felt like, something like an impetus in my own heart saying to myself, it's not for that what I need you for. It's not for that, okay, for those difficulties, whatever it is. What I need you for. It sounds like like a flick on the nose, It's not for that what I need you for. It's like like it sounds like a derision, like you're talking down to somebody. But that was the words. These are the words that I said to myself in my heart. That suddenly shone in my heart. But that in itself is not very funny. It's not a reason to start laughing like that. The reason why I laughed is because when I said these words to myself, suddenly I had a very different look on my life. It wasn't me standing in front of Kodesh Baruch Hu, and I'm talking to him about my life. The way it seems to me was as if me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu are standing side by side together. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu's arm is is over my shoulder. Just standing together with him. We're both looking at this pathetic, sorry tale called my life. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling me, listen, from the point where I thought of creating the world, everything, all the way to the very end, after Tchias HaMesim, after the judgment day, after the whole thing is done. This whole business, this whole thing is not complete without this life that you're living, being lived. I need this. Without it, it's not complete. My bria, my creation is not complete without that life that you're living. And Akash Baruch Hu said, listen, nobody can live this life for me except for you. You're the only one who can do it. Do me a favor. Live this life for me. I promise you I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. How is it contained in these words? In these words, it's not for this what I need you for. On the outside, it looks like, like a bittle. But inside, if not for this what I need you, it means I need you. I need you for something. So by speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, my heart reciprocated with something that I have known for years and years. Meaning, it's better, 1 hour with difficulties than 100 hours without difficulties. It's better to do a mitzvah with the Yetzer Hara than doing 1,000 mitzvahs without Yetzer Hara. That Kodesh Baruch Hu has billions upon billions, trillions or gazillions or gigul, whatever of malachim to do whatever he wants. But everything depends on the man over here that fails, that falls, whatever. That principle, if not for that, what I need you represented by these words, I've known already before. It's not as if I heard something that I didn't hear before, not this specific wording, but the principle. The main thing is you have Yetzer Hara, that's the thing that gives value to Avodas Hashem, to your Avodas Hashem. But by talking honestly to Kadosh Baruch Hu, and talking, my heart, Rabbeinu says, when a person's heart speaks to him, he says, Lecha amar libi, Rashi says, Lecha, b'shlichuscha, in your heart, when your heart speaks to you, the Kadosh Baruch Hu is speaking to you. So it was pi yadaber chachmas, my mouth uttered chachma. I mean, I said things the way it seemed to me from Mamadrega. Even when I was frustrated, it wasn't like, that's it, forget about it, close store, I'm not coming to you anymore. Well, Chas v'chalila, it wasn't that. I was genuinely broken. Nothing wrong with that, I came to Kodesh Baruch Hu. I went back home. I didn't continue to do it because I felt at loss. But I came back. I said, okay, so what do we do with this? I said, okay, fine, I accept it. Just why so difficult? And when I got this understanding that I'm living this life, because Baruch and me are in it together, I'm doing something for him that nobody else can do. Nobody else can do this. Nobody else can live my life. Nobody else can live your life. Did you ever imagine that? The Rav Amish, then Chava Liba Chava. Did you ever imagine the entire Bria is not complete without your life, the way they are, exactly, being lived? Because Baruch Hu cannot have it. Don't worry, because Baruch Hu said, he'll take care of it. Or you. Everybody. I was ready to take on the world. That's why I was laughing. I was ready to take on the world. Give me life. I want to live the life. I want to do it. I'm on a mission. I'm going to live my life. That's the pshat. That when the mouth shines to the heart, and the Kodesh Baruch Hu shines to you, he answers you from feeling like the ultimate total loser, that nothing, it can't be anybody worse than me. No way. There's no bigger failure, bigger excuse. I mean, a life that resembles a spelling mistake. I mean, the whole thing is just wrong. Any which way you want to look at it. My history, my past, my present, my future, everything is messed up, and there's no way out. You suddenly take a different tack, a different look at the whole thing. So he's going to do this. I mean, people can tell this to me 1,000 times over and over and over, and I'll go, okay, I hear, wow, yeah, wow, incredible, wow, that's something really special. Thank you. Yeah. But when it happens, when you speak to Kadosh Baruch Hu, and it shines in your heart, it makes your life something else. It doesn't mean that the difficulties stop being difficult. It doesn't mean I don't fall flat on my face over and over and over again. But there's a point of contact that Nekudas HaChochmah touched my heart. And as pathetic as I have been since, I'm not the same person I was before. My life is not the way it was before. That's the pshat of Piyadaber Chochmah, the Hagut Libi, and the thoughts of my heart, Tvunos, comprehension. I got it. It's not just that I know it as theory. No, I got it. I saw it with my own heart. That's the show. What was bothering me before bothered me afterwards also. In fact, there were certain things after there were a lot worse. You know, for me, whatever it is. But I knew a secret, quote unquote, that I never forgot. And whenever I tell this story, I'm taken back to that, when I was standing and how it was, and when I said it, and the whole thing. This is when a person speaks to Kadosh Baruch Hu and talks to him. He talks upon his heart, and he gives himself. He gives all his spirits. This is possible when you connect to the tzaddik, you connect to your friends, and to Kadosh Baruch Hu, it shines to you. And Lemaisa, the push comes to shove. Whenever it is that you are stuck in your life, it's because you're looking at your life or whatever it is from the wrong angle. The life that I have to live for Kadosh Baruch Hu is the life, it's my life. And it's wonderful, it's beautiful. Oh, Hashem. And it will continue. And when I ache, I cry, I kvetch. I'm the same spoke, with work. No problem. But something is fundamentally changed. Because by connecting the Hagus Pira Bechochme, Hagus Libi Funui has enabled me to shift, because that's the only thing that made that changed. I just looked at my life from a different angle, from a different point of view. That's it. That's the only thing that changed. Everything else stayed the same. But that's the thing that changed, that makes the entire difference. And when the heart, which is the Vav, Chinas Luchis, Umeshuka Ba'avas Royos, is steeped in corrupted love, because the love of a person is in his heart. The love is in the heart, When the heart is steeped in corrupted cravings, in misplaced affections and attractions and whatnot. Derision and shame. This is because in this you are keviyochel shaming and deriding Kodesh Baruch Hu. Because what you're doing, originally we said in the very beginning, there's only one love. That's the love of Hashem. All the loves that we give to various things in our world are applied. We take the Avos Hashem. We love our family. We love the certain that comes because we love them because we are one with them. Like a person's love to his wife, or a person loves to his children, or to his parents. These are loves that stem out of the fact that we are actually one thing. Ahava is gematria echad, right? The question is, what is a good love and what is a bad love? What makes for good love? What makes for bad love? What turns? The answer is Vayahav Yaakov es Rachel. Lavan makes a deal with Yaakov. He worked for 7 years for Rachel. Yaakov loves Rachel, and he works for 7 years for her. And the Torah says an amazing sentence. Vayu be'einov kiyomim achadim. It was, and it seems to Yaakov Avinu like a few days. He loved her so much. But for him, 7 years was just like a few days. Wait, time out. If he loved her, every day they had to wait, must have seemed like a year. And you're telling me here, the 7 years seemed like a few days. Right? What gives? The answer is that the love of Yaakov Avinu is because Yaakov Avinu loved Rachel. He didn't love himself and was attracted to Rachel. And he wanted to have her because he loved himself. Then every day would have seemed like a year. He loved her. So 7 years seemed like a day. When the love is a hava the kedusha, it's you love somebody else. You love your wife. You love your children. You love Kodesh Baruch Hu. You want to give them. Ahavas Roes, a corrupted love, is when I love myself. I want to take. That which the world at large calls love is the opposite of love. It's self-love. I love me.
We said it, everyone has to love themselves.
Beseder. But even that is because everybody has to love himself, not the kind of love that the person does, which is not really loving himself, but is really spoiling himself, is really trying to dull, to get away, with things. That's not love. Like, let's say, for instance, you love your child, okay? Because you love your child, you don't want your child to be eating candies 24 hours a day. Oh, you mean that? You mean that? But I love you. I don't want you to eat candies 24 hours a day. It's bad for you. The same thing with me. If I eat candies 24 hours a day, that doesn't mean I love myself.
It's like a taiva.
It's exactly what it is. A taiva is the opposite of love. I'm taking the ahava, which is the greatest act of giving, and I'm turning towards myself. I'm giving it. I'm taking it. I'm not giving, I'm taking. All the taivas are taken. All the ahavas that are pure, that are right, like even the ahava that I love myself, the kedusha, is giving. I'm giving myself the chance to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. See, the thing is that ultimately, a person loves himself when it's the kedusha, when it's the way it's supposed to be. It's a derivative of Ahavas Hashem. We say in Kriyat Shema, "V'ahavta Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol navecha." Comes the question, how on earth can I love someone that I can't see? I haven't met, how? How can I do it? How can you do it? The answer is that that love, that you love yourself. Why do you love yourself? Why do you love yourself? Because you're you, right?
You're still before, it's unique, your unique creation, your unique life.
Yeah, but I love myself without words. I love myself not because of I love myself because I'm me. Ultimately, why do I love me? Because even a person who hates himself, quote unquote, hates himself, he hates himself because he loves himself. How dare I be such a failure? How can I do this to me? That's the thing. Because I love myself. In other words, I love me because I am me. That's it. Because I'm one, right? Me and me is one. So it's a havasha be'etzem, as it were, right? Underneath the you, there is no more you than a Kadosh Baruch Hu. I'll repeat it. I love me because I am fundamentally me. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everything. Ultimately, the meest me is the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Again, I love me because I am me. It's a fact. It's an automatic love. I don't have to do anything. to win my own love. Okay, it's there automatically because I am me. The deepest level of me, of what I am, is the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Everything is a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Which means when the Torah says means remove that level of selfishness and get deeper. Remove the gashmi, remove the taking, and put in the giving. And that inner level of what you are, which is the Kadosh Baruch Hu, will be revealed. And the automatic love, the same love that you love yourself, but a lot deeper, you will love Kadosh Baruch Hu. Automatically. In other words, you don't have to get to know Kadosh Baruch Hu. You're not going to let's have coffee, let's sit together, let's get to know one another. That's not what it's about. The matter is removing the veil to see who I really am. You know what I am? I am a Kadosh Baruch Hu in a body and neshama of Aaron Pinchas. Think about it. It's a very, very profound statement. And therein lies the secret. B'ezrat Hashem, we will finish here. And Hashem Yisbarach should help. We will continue Mitzvah Hashem next week. Mitzvah Shabbos, of course, we have Sichas Haran, Sipur Baal Shem, and Shabbos to everyone. Yes, okay.